connect, catch and collect? Can they collect the data, but then where do you store the data? That's an element which probably I'll try and go a little deeper with you, because once you have the data, where exactly you're going to store, how you store it, and then how do you deploy your data models on it, that will really enable Industry 4.0 in a manufacturing setup. As we gave you that specific example, and that's why I said 2015, at least for personally, was an extremely important area, because that's the time I'll be very candid. I really learned from my client about Internet of Things. In fact, I was inviting him for a presentation. He said, why don't you ask me to present on Internet of Things? And I started reading up. So I'll be very candid and very grateful for my client CEO who asked me that question. And he was, and got me onto this journey to try and read. But really the explosion really started happening. The conversations really started happening. And that's when Industry 4.0, the conversations in India had been started building up. I really started being invited to, you can say, Institution of Engineers or any other industry bodies, chemicals, petroleums, and others, the conversations in 2016 and 17. Before that, I at least never got that information or request from the industry bodies also. But that's where the conversations, and that's the same time, if you see, the cloud conversations actually also picked up. Now, both would, to a fact, will run in tandem, because IoT devices explosion had been happening for quite some time. But the whole question was, how do we store the data, how we catch and collect? Fair enough. The infrastructure was being laid, but how do we really store the data, and how do we really deploy my data models and data science? And that's where these streams, these learning you can say academies and institutions, now they have actually BTech in data science. I mean, a couple of years back, I did not come across even a single course in bachelor's which talked about data science. And this year, I understand at least 4 or 5 universities have started this course, because earlier it used to be, okay, do science, statistics, and then learn a little bit of computers, and then you do your master's and PhD, and then you come on to data science and all. So that's why I'm saying that's kind of a pivot in the time period is what we are seeing. Yes, the data has been growing exponentially. And let me quote Gartner here, which actually says that 75% of the data will be processed outside the traditional data center or cloud in, as one would say, quote unquote, what we believe are mostly, or we are accustomed to dealing with, is public cloud. Your iPhone, Apple iCloud Drive, that's public cloud. It's not exactly an edge compute. It's not exactly a private cloud. It's a public cloud. And since my talk today in this gathering is going to be focused for manufacturing, so I'll stick to more for the manufacturing setup. Now, when you have a manufacturing line, and I think Opal Jindal University is actually set up in Raigad, and you have such a large steel plant and operating very, very close in the district. I think most of the faculty would be aware that at no point they would want dependencies for any kind of information flow, which would actually derail the productions. They would want each of those operations to be done within the mill, close, contained, so that there is absolutely no shutdown which can disturb the production which is happening, whether it's caster operations, whether it's rolling mill operations, whether it's cutting, slitting, anything. Talk to any of those plant heads, manufacturing heads, they would not. But at the same time, they are improving their machineries, which means there are machineries which are coming in with embedded IoT devices. And almost everyone, you check out Siemens, you check out everyone is continuously improving, and the entire set of historians which they are trying to build. So you have very, very robust manufacturing lines with very strong L1 process controls, PLCs, SCADA, PCA systems, with the historians being set up. So the whole question is, with this data explosion which is happening across, the whole question which manufacturing and industrials were struggling, and for that matter, others are also struggling, is the scale and the complexity of the data growth which is happening will actually outpace any kind of infrastructure or network which you're going to put in. And it's not easy to shift this huge amount of data. We are talking about thousands and thousands of tags in a manufacturing line, which gets generated at in the production side. You can't really have a bandwidth, energy, and the latency issues. Plus, more important is the immediate need to react. It's like millisecond responses. So what do we do about that? So that's the question which is actually driving the entire conversations in industrials, but as well as in other industries also, for the edge compute. When we talk about an edge compute, and this is some of the stats which I'm showing is the projections which are coming in right now, and with the conversations which we are having, actually manufacturing will really drive it, because they were the ones which really lagged behind in terms of this data utilization. They always had data, but the data was always in silos. The data was in one particular mill. Even if you had two casters, the two casters could not exchange. I'm talking about a steel setup when I use the word caster. Pardon me, but I'm just saying, if it's an automobile side, the data from one shop to another generally would not be exchanged easily across the centralization. It's not easy. We are not talking about an ERP system. We are not talking about the backend systems. I'm talking about actual packing line systems. I'm talking about actual production line systems, manufacturing line systems. Those systems there was always retained within the firm, or rather, I would say, go ahead and say within the mill or the shop floor, that particular shop itself. It was not readily available. It was available at those and gentlemen. Yes, there were a lot of manufacturing dashboards. There were a lot of concept of manufacturing execution systems. That information was being attempted. Yes, it has been attempted, but not to that extent as to really enable the Industry 4.0 conversations. And that's where I think this forecast could be plus minus, but to a certain extent, yes, we see primarily in that. Yes, it will also be in the logistics and transportation and in other areas, because, and especially in the defense also, you would want, and there are various, you can say, examples which are coming in. But primarily, since my topic is on the manufacturing side, I would be very focused on where exactly. So now, suppose there is a production line. Within milliseconds, the information does hit the L1 systems that there is an anomaly happening in the whole thing. That information does later on get stored in the historians behind the L1 systems. Then there is a whole lot of L2 systems also, which applications which would be analyzing that information getting stored in the historians. Now, the whole point is how fast those data models could be built on L2 systems. How fast could be they redeployed? How fast they could react and send that information back to the operator to either take an action or be integrated with an L1 system to try and drive a faster compute. Now, these systems, actually, you'll be shocked. Most of these systems in very, very large corporations are still operating on Corba operating systems and all those. I mean, they have not really changed. And then ability to put in data models, ability to is not very easy. And that's where the whole concept of edge compute comes in. Can we really revamp? Can we bring in the whole set of technologies which are available at cloud level right to the production line, and then enable smart manufacturing? And this is exactly what the technologies are actually evolving, and evolving very, very fast. And with the 5G, I think we will see an explosion within the industrials from that perspective. Let me just share this case study, and this is a conversation which is in a fairly advanced stage, which we are happening with a very, very large steel manufacturer. On the left-hand side, as you would see, so let me give a little background also. From a back-end process system, this entire organization has moved its entire ERP systems and all that information into actually a public cloud. So you can say the financial data. Sorry.
Sir, sorry, sir. It's not moving. Slides are not moving.
I could see five slide.
No, sir, this is only the first slide, introduction slide.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You should have prompted me earlier, maybe.
Oh.
Now they are moving?
Yes, sir. Now it's now.
Okay, so this was my second slide, which talked about that Gartner estimate of 75% data, which is where I talked about, and the bandwidth latency issues. This was my third chart, which we talked about the rapid growth, which we anticipate based on the various market research papers, which we are seeing across. This is going to be very large for the manufacturing side, because they are the ones who had always these data in the silos and stored, and that's where there is and the way the conversations are happening. Yes, they are initial stages, but with the technologies and other coming in, I think these conversations will really pick up fast. Just want to check, Dr. Sanjay, are you able to see my slide journey to OT edge cloud large steel manufacturer?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for the feedback. So let me give a background. This is a very large steel manufacturer. And sometime back, we used to always handle their large systems in terms of back office. They had approximately 375 applications spread across, and we are talking about the ERP systems and other systems, as well as the applications, which is for materials, dispatch, sales, distribution, and other areas, which is not exactly, I would say, an L1 and L2 system, but more like an L4 system. All that systems, they had a conversations, and then we consolidated, and then we moved the entire operations to the public cloud, which was IBM public cloud in this case. And that's where the entire operations is being run for the back office. Now, the conversation actually was a challenge which they asked, can the entire manufacturing line, and this came actually very strangely just sometime before the pandemic hit. And the question which the CEO threw to us very interestingly, can you have contactless manufacturing? Now, this at a high level is yes, it gives you visions about robotics, it gives you visions about intelligent workflows, it gives you visions about operations where human intervention is minimal. But let's come down to brass tacks and what's really feasible. What he did throw us a challenge, but what he was trying to say is there could be times when the machines will detect an anomaly at milliseconds. And at that point of time, I would definitely want an action to be initiated by the operator or somebody in the control room, or some kind of an input should go back to them, which obviously brings down to the whole concept of intelligent workflows. And for intelligent workflows to happen, how does the data models operate? And then comes down to the second question, where do you store the data? Where do you analyze the data itself? And how fast the data analysis can be to enable that response to the anomaly which you're seeing in the production line. After that, and obviously if you drill down further deeper, then you will start realizing as to what kind of systems and infrastructure which you have. So now let's go a little deeper. Now that we have listened to those questions, let's go a little deeper. You have your L1 systems, which is right at the manufacturing line with the PLC control systems and SCADA and other control systems. And as what I have shown here, and you would see a lot of the systems which we found were actually running on Porba and other areas. And they had not really been upgraded. Yes, the data was being stored, luckily. Data was being analyzed also in some of the mills. But if they had one caster, or rather if they had 3 casters. So whatever data model they would probably develop, it was to caster 1 for that matter. You can't even take that data model and move into caster 2. Yes, there could have been a different acquisition or a different machine systems out there, but at a data level, at an L2 level, you should be able to port it and you should be able to do it to a large extent, and the systems should facilitate this. Those are the elements of cloud compute and others which you seamlessly talk about, and that's where you get into those benefits of cloud compute. And then, yes, at a plant level, whole level, you would want everything is right now in silos. The good part, which we have noticed, they have data scientist teams who are developing these data models, who are trying to improve responses and trying to do that analysis and do those in specific use cases. They are identifying those use cases in Industry 4.0, and they're trying to achieve that. So they have that, you can say, the set of people who are trying to do. But down at the basic levels, it's all in extremely siloed fashion. So that's where the whole concept and the discussions really built up. How do you really consolidate them? So yes, that's where, now this is very unique to it, but this organization, they said the data in a particular mill cannot go outside that mill for any kind of processing and a response. We will not risk it, even if it's a fiber optic or even if it is a any kind of response. And that's why we came up with this whole idea of an edge cluster. Edge cluster was a similar set of mills or shop floors which were very much within the premises. The cloud compute kind of facilities would be there, trying to deliver the benefits. And right at the same location level, we would set up a cloud setup, which we said will be the edge cloud. So edge cloud, you can say, as your district is, suppose the same thing in the similar plant was to be talked about. It's right at Raigad itself, there is a cloud operations which is going to happen. Whereas within the plant, there would be at a consolidated shop floor levels, there will be edge clusters. So that's the concept which we are talking about. It's a quick maturity curve, which I'm trying to flash as to where most of the Indian manufacturers, and this was based on the dipstick, and this is not a very comprehensive survey, I would say, but this is at a high level. This would show us as to where the Indian manufacturers, especially the large manufacturers of the core manufacturing sectors, would be there. Most of them are in that they're analyzing this data at the silos level. Yes, there will be some old manufacturing units which could still be operating at the ad hoc level, which is the information is either not getting stored properly or not getting analyzed properly. The systems may not be there, but most of the Indian manufacturers are able to connect with these sensors, able to analyze, pull this data, or the machineries itself have the capability to analyze the data, but it's mostly happening at a silo level. The whole aspect is slowly to move these manufacturing units as they cover the Industry 4.0 journey into an integrated and then slowly managed and then an optimized, because you would want a predictive response. You would want faster response. And that's where the challenge of the contract that's manufacturing, slowly you would move towards meeting that. Left-hand side was in that particular plant when we actually did a dipstick. These were the various challenges which we realized. I mean, sometimes the entire data is not stored because there's the sheer intensity and the size of the data which is coming in. Not everything is getting stored also. The historians are not for everything, not all tags. And yes, it's a chicken and egg story. Okay, the use case derives what kind of data tags would you really store. Similarly, data collection, there were challenges, then data access, then the quality of the data, and then with respect to a data mining. So this is from left-hand side is from that particular mill. The right side is the maturity curve from an Industry 4.0, how the manufacturing setups, when they cover the journey into a connected manufacturing unit, which is operating on 4.0 principles, how it would transition its entire journey. This is a fairly advanced concept. This is what we believe would be in a authentic data science. Is it tried and tested in a manufacturing setup? No, I would not say that. But this is something we believe will be very crucial from the data science, if you want to do it really at scale in a manufacturing setup with multiple shops and of a similar nature. And that's where the whole, it's a reflect, since I'm looking at the steel case itself, we are talking about now, assuming it's a steel case, there are 3 caster mills, or there are 3 you can say same type of rolling mills, hot rolling, 3 rolling mills are operating or there. And then I will explore this case much higher. But the whole point is they are storing the data, they have developed the data models, and in one shop floor, and a very similar shop floor, they are operating in the same location itself, or maybe 2 or 3 of those shop floors. How do you take the learnings? How do you manage it? How do you improve your Industry 4.0 case if you're going to operate completely in silos? That's the whole concept of federated learning, which is what I'm going to talk about. Just give me a second before I change the slide. Is my federated learning slide visible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So now let's explore this. Suppose there are 3 steel plants operating in that same entity with a similar production lines, with a similar setup. That's what I said, plant 1, 2, 3. Now, all of them would have casters. All of them could be having the same hot rolling mill or a cold rolling mill, may or may not be. But I'm saying blast furnace, if they're following the principle, they're following the same electric arc furnace, all those 3 mills. Now, that means from one location to another location, when you have developed an Industry 4.0 case in one separate silo, how fast could you be able to deploy that model across locations and start reaping the benefits? That's the whole concept of federated learning, and which actually needs an integrated architecture, which can be enabled through the whole concept of edge compute, operating both at the mill level as well as the location level, and which can push in these entire applications from one side to another side almost seamlessly in an operations manner. Let me try and quickly wrap up. Yes, we have talked about the entire use case. We have talked about the data explosion. We have talked about how the catch and collect happens, how the data gets stored, and how the cloud compute facility, you can say the unique attributes, actually can get enabled right at the production line to enable faster insights, which adhere to the requirements of localization of control as well as the data security, because you would not want some kind of a cybersecurity threat to shut down your production lines and things like that, as well as obviously continuous manufacturing, which are not dependent on the latency and the bandwidth or any other kind of challenge which could happen. So that's where the whole Industry 4.0 is actually pivoted not only on the IoT devices and their learnings, but also on the cloud compute journey, because the use cases and the data models which you develop to improve a particular use case, you would actually need all these pivots and then you can say the setup to happen before you go ahead and do that. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Sanjay.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Harsh, I had got this is not a technology related question.
Yeah, please.
See that almost 40% of the export in manufacturing domain that is from MSMEs.
Yes.
MSMEs play good role in total export, but we see that
Yes.
Forget about the L3 system. Even we don't see the L2 system in place.
Yes.
In maximum cases. even in
Yes, yes.
Raigad steel plant, we have L1 and L2.
Yep.
We are in the process of deploying L3.
Yes.
But of course, in the Angul, we have L1, L2, L3 in place. So
Yep.
the like more than 15 years back setup, they really do not have, and especially in case of MSMEs, they really do not have L3 system in place. So
Yeah.
under this scenario, can they really get some benefit out of this edge computing, which can be deployed at the L1 level itself, or the fog computing?
Yeah. So the concept which I actually shared, yes, this is not exactly can be superimposed there. But the edge cluster which I'm talking about, even if it's working behind your L2 systems, you may not have a proper L3 system. Now, L3, when we talk about a system, this is more from an infrastructure and the capabilities of cloud which are getting deployed. I'm not talking at an application control. Applications will sit on top of it there. Assuming you have those applications, the edge cluster facility can get still deployed even if you don't have an L3 infra. So these could be grounds up, it could be greenfield. You could have this entire edge cluster as a first starting point, and then deploy your L3 applications, which could be specific shop floor applications which support the data models for Industry 4.0 to address a particular KPI, which could be asset quality or asset performance management, based on the data which you are actually storing in your in the historians behind L1. So this is actually an L2 and L3 area it can get enabled. But going back to the first part of the question which you said, now suppose you don't even store the data at an historian level. Suppose you don't even have an L1 system. Yes, then the story is it's very, very rudimentary setup. Then I would go back to the maturity curve, not even ad hoc, but then you're prior to that extent. Basic L1 systems with their PLC controls and historians, if there are there, then the edge cluster can support it. Even if the historians are not there and you want to start a greenfield, you can start on this and scale it up. You don't need an historians. Historians and PLC controls came in earlier, but as we leapfrogged and we never used pages, you can actually leapfrog to this setup of this edge computing. Even if you have a robust sensorization and controls, PLC control systems at an L1, and you can start from the L2 side itself.
Okay.
And to go back to the MSMEs, now for an MSME, can they, your setup is a fairly big, large public listed companies. MSMEs can vary from, you can say 10 crore operations to 500, 600 crore operations from that perspective. At an aggregated level, if for a similar set of industries, yes, this could be deployed, but yes, they can all pool in their resources. It may not be at an edge cluster level for them. It may not be even at an edge cloud level. But it could be at overall, I would say at a public cloud level, they can leverage their consolidated strength to actually set up this infrastructure. Yes, the real-time facilities may not be because of latency and bandwidth, but at least their L4 systems and other areas where they are probably still struggling and not able to manage, especially in the pandemic, they really struggled when there were lockdowns and factories were not, people could not reach factories, especially the IT folks and all. They can leverage the cloud. And that's why you see a lot of cloud conversations are happening and the smaller segments also. People do not want to take these responsibilities henceforth. They are pushing their data loads into these cloud conversations, and they are there. But yes, from a manufacturing perspective, they would still need to wait, because that kind of bandwidth, infrastructure, and networking capabilities may not. You still get in India almost 999 cloud setups you have in India. With multi-data center sites and things like that, but the bandwidth latencies and all will be risky to run it on a production line. But the back office systems are being moved. There is no two words about it.
And it
Did
is
I answer your question, Dr. Ashok?
Yes, I understood to a larger extent. Just wanted to understand, like, see the security issues in the system when we have the entire system at edge level, you know. So probably the entry of the malwares or viruses could be easier because we really do not have a proper security system in place. So just want to understand.
No, that's an important point, and that's where the whole edge thing came up. It was primarily because of the security angle. This actually cloud resides within the mill itself. When I said edge cluster, that means that edge cluster is in the steel plant, right inside their optical fiber cable network, inside the mill itself. So it's the cloud compute operating right in the proximity. Even the cluster which I talked about, or the edge cloud which I talked about, is within the premise. It is not a public cloud. The data actually does not leave the location itself. It is the entire capability of cloud, those various features. I mean, cloud is not just data storage. There are a whole set of security features. There are a whole set of application capabilities and other elements. All that is being actually pulled in and deployed right at the premise level itself. So you are actually isolated from any kind of threat, so long as you don't expose them.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. It was really like wonderful presentation on edge computing.
So we have one more question. Hello, sir, am I audible to you?
Yes, but he probably, it seems he lost the
He's
connection.
not, yeah, he's disconnected.